Hi folks, this is the unboxing video for the Eureka Zone Universal Edge Guide. See, the package comes to you pretty well secured. Let's take a peek inside. The first thing you find in the box is the saw mounting base, which is the base, which looks like filled nylon, and a couple of other parts in here, including some inserts for the bottom of the base. Okay, inside the package you've got the instruction sheet with 3D CAD drawings on how to assemble the parts. This is the guide bar that you use to pull the saw base along. Got some extrusion, which makes up the base of the Universal Edge Guide, and it's got laser engraved ruler on the side. The other side. And this is the other piece of the same kind of extrusion. This one doesn't have any ruler on it. And a bag of hardware. That contains these guide pieces that fit inside these extrusions. Got some end caps that go on this tube. And a bunch of knobs. You can see on these extrusions on the bottom, they've already got a piece of the guide extrusion in here that helps align things. You have one of those on the bottom of both of these pieces that have the ruler on it. And on the other piece, you've got these nuts and bolts to line things up. Okay, why don't we have a look and see what's in the saw base package. It's covered with shrink wrap. Get that out of the way. One of the things, you've got a base plate. This base plate's for use on the saw when you want to use it off the track. This is the back plate that allows you to mount the fin. And this kind of acts similar to a riving knife, in that it will provide a nice safe gap behind the cut so that the cut can't pinch closed. That's what that little fin piece looks like. So there's one flat piece for use outside of the base, and when you're not on the track. And they have two pieces that you can use for on the track cutting. Okay, this is the saw base, and you mount your circular saw to this base, and these tabs align the blade. And so you put the saw end and rest the blade up against these tabs, get it all set, and then you screw it in with any of these holes. So it requires a little drilling and that sort of thing, or you can put it on with double-sided tape. There's spots in the base here that accept these guides, and when these tabs are gone, you can slide those all the way in. It would also accept the tab for the fin. And they snap in place. I just haven't pushed them into place yet. There's a tab here that lets them snap into place. This base is a lot more substantial than the previous base, and it has these wings on the end which allow it to mount to the universal edge guide. And there's even a cut line indicator machined into it. One look at the Universal Edge Guide instructions, and you have the CAD drawings showing the completed assembly of the unit, and a few detail drawings down here on the front page. But there's no instructions on how to actually put it together or in what order, because when you turn the page, it goes right into the use examples on how to use the unit, and then it goes into mounting the base to the saw. So it's not, there's not really any instructions, and a lot is left up to the user to figure out. Now, it's not that difficult to do because most of the parts have already been pre-assembled where they go on the unit. But if an absolute beginner with no experience with these parts might have some issues trying to figure out how things go together. See, there's a, as I can say, there's a variety of ways that could be assembled. So it's up to the user to pay close attention to the drawings and figure it out. So I was all set to rave about the instructions, but they could use one more pass through because the what is here is very good, but they need one more page, maybe two.
I received my Universal Edge Guide at the beginning of the year when the product was first launched, and the instructions were quite rough at that time. But as you can see, as I scroll down through this current set of instructions, that it's really pretty nice. It shows all the extrusions, how the parts go together, what goes where, and then it shows you how to use it. So they've taken a really good step towards giving you good instructions for this product.
Okay, so I'm going to take this drawing, have it up there so that I can see it, and try and guess which way this goes together. Okay. Now I know that this shorter piece with the two nuts on it is the front rail, and looking at the drawing, this thin edge here goes in the front of the unit. And I know from looking at this that these ends with the connectors on them go towards this rail. Both of those in the orientation. And I noticed from the drawing that the thin edge here with the ruler on it goes to the outside. So I'll put one of these over here, one of these over here, slide them together and see what we have. So first off, you got to loosen these just a little bit. Slide it on like that. Take the other end. And slide it into the slot. And you can see there's a lot of room for adjustment here to get it square. But since this plate is going to be mounted it even has an R and an L, a right and a left side. So I'm going to put this one that says R here, and I would be wrong according to the drawing, because the drawing shows these in the back. And the way I've got it set up right now, this bolt is blocking me from moving it in. So I think it has to be this bolt is kind of blocking me from moving this in. So I think it has to be removed. There's a lot of guesswork going into this at the moment. So that allows me to align that hole. Let's see if we can get a view of that. So this allows me to align that hole with the hole in both extrusions. And you slide a washer in. Drop a bolt down through there. And tightening up the lock nut on the bottom here. I'm going to keep that loose for now because, as you can see, I'm not square here yet. So I'll be able to adjust that. Now, these connectors, like the one that I'm tightening up on the bottom of this part, have little notches in them which align with the notches and the ends of the extrusion, and that, when they're tightened, it pulls them up tight and causes them to automatically align. You can see the joint there that gets formed, so they kind of almost dovetail together. Okay, if you're going to square up the rails in relationship to each other so that you can keep it square, you can use a Carpenter square to do that. A good place that I found to lay the Carpenter square is along this front edge of the extrusion. You hold that tight and then slide it over until you're touching the side extrusions, and then you can adjust it in and out. Let's see if we can get a better angle. And you can adjust it in or out until it's square. Hold it in place and then tighten these down. Okay, and then double check again. And you're looking to make sure that there's no light showing between the side of the extrusion and the edge of the square. And you flip it over and align the other side. Check that and tighten it down. And if you did it right, this should slide freely back and forth. You just want to check your work again. Now these easy connector extrusions are going to come in and slide into the channels on the side rails, and you won't be able to do that from the front because the guide bar assembly is going to be there. So I'm going to do it from the rear of the unit. I've got this upside down so that you can see it, but we're going to slide in like that. One on each side. Flip it back over. That's all it is. And this base plate fits over these studs. Put a couple of washers in place. And attach the knobs. For whatever reason, this knob doesn't fit. It's a smaller diameter than the others, so I think that was a packing error. Don't want to force that out. So I'll contact EZSMART in the morning, Eureka Zone, and see what they can do about that. Last part of the universal edge guide frame assembly is putting on this bar. The bar has a cap screw and washer. It's got one of these weld nuts. Okay, so the bar goes into these two slots. The bolt comes up from underneath. Get that started on one side and then do the other. It's easier, you put a finger over the weld nut and hold it in place while you tighten the bolt with the other hand. I think these actually fit best if the weld nuts ears are down the length of the tube instead of across it. There. Once you've tightened down the handles, you're going to want to put on the protective caps, and you may actually have to loosen the handle to get the caps over the end. And tighten it back down. Do that on both sides. Just so I have a list of thoughts as I first assemble this and I don't lose it. As far as the fit of the parts goes, everything was good except for the knob, which was the incorrect size. The finish on these is very nice. I was not expecting the laser engraved ruler. The hardware is all good, high quality hardware. The plastic work is excellent. The instructions could use another go through. What is here is much better than previous Eureka's own stuff, but it's not quite there yet, and I'm sure that the new team will get that squared away. Usability. This is a lot lighter than the Easy Rip Sizer, much lighter. It's also stronger, more sturdier feeling than the Craig unit that does the same type of thing. So it should be nice to give this a try.